the absolute best way to stop sugar cravings. The outdated method with this stuff is to cut it all out, get rid of it, never have it ever again. You don't need it. Sugar's like drugs. Avoid it like the plague, and you'll stop craving it after long enough. Could you exile sugar from your life and everything with flavor? Yes. But here's the problem. The best experiences and memories you have are all surrounded around these foods. It's not practical, in my opinion, to just say, just stop eating insert food here. Having the foods that you crave to stop the sugar cravings feels so ass backwards compared to everything else you hear online. If you want to lose weight, have the body of your dreams, and be normal around food where you don't have wild sugar cravings that are uncontrolled, we have to. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Dieting from the Inside Out. If you're new around here, welcome to the show. My name is Jared Hamilton and I'm your host. And in today's episode, we are talking about the absolute best way to stop sugar cravings. Excuse me. Now, I'm going to give you the short answer, and then we'll spend the rest of this episode talking about it. So the short answer to the best way to stop sugar cravings is to have what you crave. Now, if you're newer around here or newer to my work, that's going to sound really weird because having the foods that you crave to stop the sugar cravings feels so ass backwards compared to everything else you hear online. Everything else you hear from diet culture and like Fitspo influencers is like exile that shit from your house and never have it ever again. And here's the reality. The outdated method is more of that. The outdated method with this stuff is to cut it all out, get rid of it, never have it ever again. You don't need it. Sugar's like drugs. Avoid it like the plague, and you'll stop craving it after long enough. And here's the thing, that might work, but after like a year, like if you, at the end of the day, if you cut out sugar completely from your life, yes, over time, you'll probably stop craving it, but it's going to take a long time to get to that point. But here's the issue where that comes in. Because I don't like that answer because I don't think it's practical. In my world, I don't care how optimal something is. If it's not practical, it's no longer optimal. Because here's the reality is, yes, could you exile sugar from your life and everything with flavor? Yes. But here's the problem. You have a lot of stuff involved with these foods. You have birthdays. You probably have kids in your house. You have Christmas. You have Thanksgiving. You have all these other holidays. You have get-togethers. You have vacations, date night, trips to the ice cream after a dance or t-ball. You've got travel. You've got amazing restaurants you love going to. You have brunch with friends when they come in from out of town. Here's the reality. Your greatest memories and the experiences that you have are all tied to food, and specifically less nutritious foods that have sugar in them, if we're being totally honest. The best experiences and memories you have are all surrounded around these foods. So it's not practical, in my opinion, to just say, just stop eating insert food here. That doesn't work. I mean, imagine if we cut out that giant list from your life. So this is where I don't understand when people go like talk shit in my comment section and they say, oh, just cut it out. You don't need it. I go, do you not give your kids birthday cake? Like, what do you do on Christmas? When your friends come in from out of town, what do you do with them? Like, do you not eat at restaurants? Like, what do you do for date night? Like, I don't understand, because if you just exile all that stuff from your life, very cold turkey, like, you're just going to never have the experiences or memories that you want. Because I would go so far to say and argue that life is about specifically creating memories and experiences with the ones that you love the most, right? Like what else is the whole point of life? If you think about, well, I grow in a family. Yeah. Well, do you not want to remember it? Do you not want to have great memories with it? Do you not want to experience the most amazing things with your kids? Memories and experiences are what everything comes down to. And I would argue the reason you work so hard in your life and are so successful is so you can afford to have amazing memories and amazing experiences. So all of those, though, are tied to food, are tied to sugar, are tied to less nutritious food. So if you also want to keep those and you want to have the body of your dreams, we have to get in the gray. It's very black, white, all nothing to be like, no exile at all from your life. Like, come on, let's be real. That's not practical. And if you're in that camp, this is not the podcast for you. So like I said, it's just not practical to say, just stop eating sugar or insert certain food here. Now, don't even get me started. We'll talk about it later on how the idea and the concept of like, well, food is like drugs. Like, don't even get me started on that. We'll get to that later. Because you have to remember this, other than like the body of your dreams. Yes, you want to love the way you look and feel, but isn't the goal also to be normal around food? Maybe to have peace and freedom around food. Isn't that the goal too? Well, if that's the case, you can't just exile everything that has sugar and flavor out of your life, because that's not normal either. I have conversations with people every single week who describe literally the concept of I just want to be normal. I just want to have peace around food. I want to be free. I don't want to have to think about food all day. I don't want to feel like there's foods I can't keep in my house because I can't control myself. I don't want to have to make separate food from my kids and my family because mom's on a diet. Yeah, none of that stuff should be happening. So if you want to be normal around food, we have to have a plan that enables that. I talk to people so often who have one thing out of this side of their mouth and then the other thing out of this side of their mouth, and they never intersect. What I mean by that is I see people all the time who say, well, Jared, I don't want to have to think about food. I just want to be normal around food. I just want food to be food. Love that for you. But then that same person out of the other side of their mouth says, I'm an all or nothing person. I'm a perfectionist. Once I start, I can't stop. If I can't be perfect, I don't even know why I bother. Those two worlds never cross paths. The question I ask people all the time in my program, I go, hey, what are we enabling? We only get what we enable. Perfectionist, all or nothing behavior leads to being crazy around food. Oh, you want it to be normal around food? We have to have the behaviors in the plan that actually lead us there. You cannot say one thing and then do another and then get upset that the result isn't what you want. So if you want to be normal around food, we have to have behaviors that get us to there. We have to have behaviors of those that are normal around food. And exiling everything with sugar and flavor and being extremist with everything doesn't happen. Doesn't make that come to fruition. So, and I'll read this to you just like I have it on my notes. If you want to lose weight, have the body of your dreams, and be normal around food where you don't have wild sugar cravings that are uncontrolled, we have to eat things in moderation. I want you to think of it this way. Your brain is probably not very familiar with this moderation concept, because right around now you may be thinking, yeah, Jared, I get it, but I'm like this. I can't keep Oreos in my house. I can't just have a handful of chips and put the bag back. And I get it. And that's the problem. So it's a brain issue. It's a brain chemistry, or not brain chemistry. It's a neural pathway issue, I should say. Think of it this way. I'm going to give you an example. So I have 3 dogs, and the one place my dogs are not allowed in my home is my bed. My wife and I's bed, the dogs are not allowed. When we got dogs and we started getting animals, we had a talk. We go, cool. How are we doing this? Are we putting letting the dogs in the bed? Are we letting them on the furniture? How are we doing this? So my wife grew up with dogs in the bed, everywhere, all this stuff. And that was the one thing I didn't like. I didn't want to have to share my bed with anyone other than my wife. And I know horror stories from every person I know that lets dogs in their bed. They don't sleep well. The dog tosses and turns and it just sucks for everybody. So our compromise was our dogs can be on the furniture. They can be wherever they want, except our bed. They are not allowed in the bed. So we're good on that. And it's been like that since day one. So what's funny though, is if you were to be a fly on my wall around my house, you'll see my dogs hop on the couches, get in the chairs, literally jump in the beanbag, like all the stuff, but they do not even consider the bed. They walk right past it. They will literally like jump onto any couch, chair, beanbag like it's theirs, but they will not dare get on our bed. It's because it's wired in their brain from as soon as we brought them home. Nope, we don't do that. Nope, that's not allowed. Like one of my dogs, we got him as a puppy. It just never was a thing. So it didn't even register to get on the bed. Now here's the reality though. That's just how they are. If all of a sudden, let's say something were to unfortunately happen to my wife and I, and let's say you took my dogs and you're like, I love sleeping with dogs. My dogs would be like, what's going on? It would be hard for them to compute at first, like getting in your bed, because they don't do that. That's not what they do. Their brain is not wired that way. So it would take a little bit of a learning curve where they think it's okay to get on the bed. It's no different with you with food. If your brain has only seen you be uncontrolled around food, once I start, I can't stop, you either exile food or binge on the food, and it never has actually seen you eat one candy bar and put the rest back. handful of chips and put the rest back. It doesn't register. So this is why it's one of the things that we have a framework in my program called, we call it the gas station method. I can explain why later, but we have a framework in my program where this is one of the first things that we do with people, where we have to rewire how their brain sees and operates around these foods, because most people have never seen it. Their nervous system has never seen them behave this free way, normal way around food. So we basically have to cultivate it. So the answer to stopping sugar cravings is to eat things in moderation and show your brain there's no scarcity, and show your brain it is okay to have these foods, and show your brain that you can have just one and put it back. Because over time, just like with the dogs, your brain will wire different. New brain cells that fire together, wire together, and then this new concept starts and you have a new neural pathway. So how do we do this? I started explaining already, but how do we do this? Number one is have what you crave when you crave it. Where most people go wrong is they live in the land of suppression and what they can't have. Chances are you probably, if you struggle with this, you probably didn't click on a video that said, or a podcast about sugar cravings. If you don't struggle with sugar and your cravings, here's how it goes for most people. Let's say you see the food that you want. Let's say you're at the office and you see the candy bowl or the break room food, whatever. And you go, I really want that. Scale of 1 to 10, you're about a 2 right now. And then all of a sudden you go, no, I'm being good. I don't need it. And you get back to work. But then like you see it again later, or you see someone eating it. You're like, I really, really want it. And now it's like a 3 out of 10. Then you go on it's been a day or two that goes by. And now all of a sudden your coworkers are like, hey, do you want something from Starbucks? And you're like, I do, but I don't. Man, it sounds good. I really want it, but I don't need it. I'm being good. It's like Wednesday and I'm actually doing okay, but I really want it. No, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks though. You're now at like a 4. Now all you're doing is thinking about it. Now your coworkers come back and like you see what they got from Starbucks and they're eating their delicious food and you're like a little jealous. You're like, I really wanted that. I really wish I could have that. No, I don't need it. I'm being good. I'm trying to lose this weight. Meanwhile, your genes are cutting into you. So you're like, no, I need it, but I don't know, and all this stuff. But again, you're like at a 4 or 5 now. Another day goes by, same thing. And now it starts to build up. Then by the time the weekend hits, you're at like a 9 or a 10. And you go, you know what? It's been a long week. I deserve this. And then you go to have like the one piece of chocolate or whatever. But then as soon as you do it, you go, oh no, I've messed up. I'm an all or nothing person. I messed everything up. I don't know why I even try. And then you overeat or binge eat. But then you go, why'd I do that? Okay, I'm going to be serious on Monday. But you're waiting till Monday to be serious because you feel like you already messed up. But because it's like a Saturday and you go, well, I know on Monday I'm not going to have these foods again. I better get it out of my system. And you have like the Last Supper because you know you're going to go back to the land of restricted. So you eat like an asshole all week until you go, all right, Monday's it. Then you repeat that cycle over and over and over and over again, week after week. Most people though, if you just solve the craving issue of when you crave it, have it, all the problems go away. So what we do with our clients all the time. Don't wait till it's at 9 out of 10 because that's when you binge eat or eat like an asshole or like totally overdo it. Cravings and honoring your cravings is like a bow and arrow. However far you pull it back, the further that arrow launches. So on a scale of 1 to 10, you should have your craving at like a 2 or a 3. You're like, that sounds good. Cool. Have it. Have the piece of chocolate. Have the mini bag of chips. Have the slice of pizza. Because then all of a sudden the craving goes back to normal. Now, if you're saying right now, but Jared, no, my cravings go from like 0 to 10. No, they don't. You've been suppressing for a really long time. That's why they're doing that, or it appears like that. But you also have a lot of subconscious restriction. Every time someone has said, Jared, I go from 0 to 10, there's no middle ground. After a little bit of conversation, there's so much subconscious restriction of as soon as they wanted something, they talk themselves out of it and they go, I don't need it. I'm being good. I'm on a diet. No, I'm better than that. Whatever. So there's a subconscious restriction that goes on for most people. So this is why you have to have what you crave when you crave it with the level that you crave it. Kill the craving when it's small. It's like water, to be honest with you. Think of it this way. When you go to get a drink of water, it's because you're about a 3 level on a scale of 1 to 10. You're about a 3. Oh, little parched, little thirsty, little sip. Couple swallows of water, you're good. You put the water back. You don't go, I got to drink all of this. And you chug the gallon of water, the liter of water. You don't do that. Unless you go all day without drinking water. We see athletes do this. They'll go crazy in a game and then they're super dehydrated and then they'll drink so much at once because they let their dehydration or their thirst get so crazy. And then what normally happens? Oh, my belly hurts because they drank too much. treat it literally the same way. When you're a little bit thirsty, you have a little drink. You very rarely wait till it gets really bad, then chug a whole bunch of water, because then you don't feel good either. It's the same thing here. Try it. Next time you have a little craving, go handle it with a little response. And you'll notice, you'll go, oh, I'm good. Now, if you're living in the camp of like, no, once I have it, I can't stop and I spiral, that's a different issue. And we'll talk about that more later. So that's how to fix this. Number one is, how about you crave when you crave it, with the level at which you're craving it. Kill it when it's early. Number two, fix your relationship with food. The reason you overeat, feel like foods are bad, say, once I start, I can't stop, feel uncontrolled, have a list of foods you can't keep in your house without going rogue in the pantry, it's because you have a bad relationship with food. And that relationship with food taints everything else. Your relationship with food is the lowest hanging fruit for fat loss, because if you have a poor relationship with food, you will not be in a deficit. That's plain and simple. You'll be good for a couple weeks, you maybe if that long, and you'll be consistent, but your relationship with food is why food noise turns on, why you think about food all the time, why you find yourself binge eating or overeating just enough to throw things out. It's because it's a reflection of your relationship with food. So if we fix your relationship with food, as in how your brain perceives and processes food, it will make fat loss 10 times easier. It's why the whole concept of dieting from the inside out is we have to diet from the inside out first before we diet for real. Because if you go to fat loss ahead of time because you're impatient, because you're results greedy, and you aren't willing to fix your relationship with food first, you will always go back and forth. This is why in my program, fat loss does not start till stage 2, and you have to have your relationship with food fixed before we even consider fat loss. Otherwise, it is a waste of time. Like, why would you build a house without a foundation? Because you're impatient and it's a waste of time. So we need to have a mature mind going into this. If you are the kind of person that wants to have results that last forever and a true transformation, I'm not talking about a transformation where you lose like 10, 20 pounds, half of it's water, and then you gain it back later. I'm talking about if you want the transformation that from that moment forward, the rest of your life is never the same. Your kids' lives are different. How the family tree goes down after you, where like everyone struggled, but then you were the one that changed it all and it went for everyone else. If you want that kind of transformation that leaves a legacy and changes the course of your family's life, you have to fix your relationship with food, because that is the low-hanging fruit for fat loss. Okay. And then number 3 on how to do this is we have to stop doing all the things that are causing the problems. If I'm trying to fill a bucket up with water and there is a bunch of holes in the bucket, would it not make more sense to stop trying to fill the bucket up with water and just fix the holes? Then go back and turn the water on. That's what you got to do here. If all of a sudden you have sugar cravings that are out the wazoo, why don't we stop doing the things that are causing them? What I mean by that is most people that struggle with this are following very cheap, trendy, surface level diet culture tactics or plans. Like, you're on the keto diet, so no shit, you crave sugar all day because you don't have any. And you're like, no, I can't have carbs. Carbs are bad. And then no wonder you think about carbs all the time. Guys, you have to understand that there's like this inner rebel pattern. It's why, like, if you tell a kid, you can't have that, they like want to stick their tongue in the outlet now. Or if I say, hey, don't think about a giraffe with a really short neck. You just thought about a really stubby giraffe. We have these parts of us that when we say, don't do this, we have a rebel pattern. So when you go, hey, you're not allowed to have cookies, cake, ice cream, those are bad, these are evil, seed oils are from the devil, whatever, you're like, oh, I kind of want those now. Half of this stuff is we're just killing the restriction. And all of a sudden it's not special anymore. You don't want it. Why don't you restrict water and then binge on water or chicken breast or veggies? It's because they're not special. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong, sugar tastes great, pastries taste great, cake tastes great, but it's still one of those things it's when you put it on this pedestal and you restrict everything, it's causing half the problems. So this is my issue with diet culture, with it having everyone cut their calories crazy low, eliminate foods, eliminate food groups, eliminate categories of food that your best experiences in your life come from. Yeah, no shit, you are going to binge like crazy on these foods and think about them all day and have all the cravings in the world, is because you're telling yourself, no, you can't have this. Your brain doesn't work in knots. If I say, we see this in sports where they like, don't miss, don't miss, don't miss, they miss. Their brain doesn't hear don't, they just hear miss. If I say, don't have sugar, your brain's just like sugar. Even if it's not even a primarily a sugar food, it's crazy. To that point, here's something to say with this. I have to bring it up because of the nature of the episode. Stop saying you're addicted to sugar. Like, you're not. I'll just be honest. You're not addicted to sugar. Whenever someone starts talking about how addicted they are to sugar and they compare it to drugs, like that's so disrespectful to everyone struggling with drugs, because it's actually funny. Like, tell me you've never struggled with drugs without telling me you've never struggled with drugs. Like I have different friends and friends in my life who are very open about their past history with this stuff. I was just chatting with my buddy. His name's Brad Jensen, the sober bodybuilder. If you look him up, I'm trying to do an in-person podcast with him. He spent the first part of his life in his degenerate phase where he really struggled with drugs and abuse or drug abuse, and spent time in prison and all that stuff. He talks about it very openly, and him and I was having a conversation around this. And he agreed completely. He goes, yeah, dude, like I wasn't breaking into my neighbor's house to steal their Oreos. Like it's not the same. And at the end of the day, most people convince themselves it is though. And then there's this cool thing called the placebo effect. That's an actual effect. Like, let me break this down for you. So if you think about the foods that you crave or overeat, one, they're not just sugar. So you saying I'm addicted to sugar, it's like drugs. It quite literally is not. When you lost your taste buds during COVID, your sugar addiction disappeared. When you're sick, your sugar addiction disappears. Like, why is that? Because that's not how drugs work. Like, why is it that the foods that you crave aren't sugar, aren't just sugar? The foods, if I go, cool, what foods do you crave that you're addicted to? You're probably going to say cookies, cake, pastries, sweets, all that stuff. Well, most of those are not just sugar. They are sugar and fat and protein and salt and amazing textures. Like, why don't you go, if you're addicted to sugar, why don't you go binge on the actual bag of sugar or the container of powdered sugar or brown sugar in your pantry right now? Why aren't you drinking gallons of honey or agave? Why aren't you just smashing fruit left and right? Because those have the highest concentration of sugar. Like that's the most of just sugar. So if you're addicted to sugar, why don't you go eat those? Because if your issue is like, oh, can't not smash a dozen cookies, donuts, pastries, cake, well, those are like, some of those are almost equal parts fat and protein and salt and a bunch of other ingredients. Here's the reality. I'm not saying you don't struggle with food or sweets or whatever. I'm saying is stop saying you're addicted to sugar when you aren't. Because if you were actually addicted to sugar, you would be smashing that stuff, not cake, because it has some sugar in it, yes, but it has all these other things. That is those foods are just hyper palatable, really easy to overeat, and they have all these other things going on. So it's a relationship with food issue. It's not I'm addicted to sugar, because if you're comparing it to an actual like alcoholic or drug addict, look at the other ways drug addicts and alcoholics operate with their vice. I bet you don't do those. Are you breaking into someone's house to get their stuff? Are you like losing your job because you have to go get your fix? Are you putting your family's life in danger because you are so obsessed with the food and sugar, and you're going to food deals and sugar deals? Like, think about it. I'm not saying that you don't struggle with food. I don't want this to be taken out of context, but I also want to be abundantly clear that we have to be careful throwing out these terms like addicted to sugar because of the placebo effect. The placebo effect in medicine is an actual effect. If you think something's strong enough and are fully believing in this thing, your body changes. Like you can think yourself into being sick and having a fever. That's proven. And there's all the double-blind placebo studies for all these different medications out there. And the people who got the placebo, the fake thing, the fake medicine or drug, their body's levels of whatever spiked because they were fully convinced they had it. I remember one of the first things I saw was it was for steroids of testosterone. This group over here got the actual testosterone steroid. Their testosterone skyrocketed. This group got a saline shot, literally nothing. Their tests skyrocketed too. Then there's the control. But this test got this test group that got the fake stuff skyrocketed is because they thought they got the testosterone. So if you go, I'm addicted to sugar, I know I am, and let's be honest, you're not, you will still act and feel in congruence with someone who actually is. But it's not plausible. It's not true. You're just convincing yourself it is. So we have to be really, really careful with this. Because it's like that old saying, if you lie to yourself long enough, you'll believe it. So this is why your issue is not you're addicted to sugar. It's that you just have a poor relationship with food. That is way easier to fix too, my friends. So that is the solution. In closing, if you want to stop the cravings for sugar or whatever, you have to start eating what you crave in moderation. It's the only way this works because you have to retrain your brain on what the new reality is, because it's only seen this over here where you struggle with it and you overeat on and things like that. Now, if you're listening to this though and saying, I don't know how, or I feel like once I start, I can't stop. I cannot have just certain foods in moderation. We have some serious work to do. This is much deeper. Again, no big deal. We fix this every single day in my program. But if you feel like you can't just go start having food in moderation, you're like, yo, I literally have to put a lock and key on my pantry because I literally cannot have just one. I cannot have moderation. This is going to be your biggest Achilles heel for everything from this moment forward. And this has to get fixed before you even have the slightest chance of getting to where you want to be with the body of your dreams. Because if you feel like there are certain foods that you are not in control of and you have such a bad relationship with food and this feelings of uncontrolled are so bad, I'm telling you, and I say this with all the love in my heart, is weight loss is just not going to happen until this is fixed. You can have the best walls and ceiling on a house, but if you do not have a foundation, you're putting your focus in the wrong places. So this ironically is what we do in my program, Dieting from the Inside Out. Inside stage 1 of my program, we literally fix people's relationship with food, stop emotional eating, stop all levels of food noise, and make them completely in control around food before we go into fat loss. And then we have even more inner work inside stage 2, the fat loss stage, because we're showing and retraining your brain, hey, here's how we lose weight while being normal, while enjoying our life. So we have a very specific process, all the frameworks, all the support, it's proven, and it works so well. I put my money where my mouth is. And if your food noise and your struggles around food like this is not cut in half by 6 weeks, within 6 weeks, you don't pay. Like, that's how much I believe in this. And ironically, guess what? To this day, I've never had to pull that card. I've never had to give someone their money back because our process works so well. So if that's you and you go, okay, I'd like to see what that looks like so I can get the help that I need, message me on Instagram, DFIO, Dieting from the Inside Out. And then I'll ask you a few questions, see if it's a good fit. And if it is, then we'll set up a call, chat details, and go from there. Otherwise, my friends, that is it for today's episode. I appreciate you. Be sure you're subscribed, and I'll talk to you next time.